Hey guys, it's Katie here and welcome back to my channel and welcome back to my series Chatting With. So today I'm going to be chatting with a musician called Dissenter. I met her at a local open mic night and she's absolutely incredible. She has a Facebook page, you should go check that out, it's Dissenter. She has an Instagram page, you should also go and check that out, and she's absolutely incredible. So without further ado, let's start chatting with Dissenter. When I thought love was a lost Hey, hello.
Hello, how are you doing?
I'm good, how are you? You look great. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me? Thank you so much.
Yes, I can. No problem. So, let's get started. You ready?
Yeah, let's go.
Perfect. So, your stage name is Dissenter. Can you tell me a bit about why you chose that and what it means?
Yeah, so I suppose the idea to me of using my real name almost felt like if I signed on to some kind of deal that they would technically own half of me. So I wasn't too fond of that idea and decided to go for a stage name and be a little bit more mysterious. And Dissenter was actually a song by a band called Anne Berlin on their last album before they broke up in 2015. So I really liked the song, but I loved the word more, so I went and looked it up, and it turns out it literally was me in a nutshell. A dissenter is somebody who strays away from social norms, who's a bit of an outcast, and who has no beliefs, no set beliefs. So I felt that was quite appropriate for me at the time when I chose it when I was 15, but it's even more appropriate now when I'm 20, you know.
I think it really does suit you, and I love like your makeup and stuff like that. I think it's really cool. When did you start like doing the makeup and stuff like that? Was that straight from the get go, or was that just something that came along later?
So I always liked the idea of having some kind of aesthetic and having like colours and stuff like that could be appropriate to me. So makeup wise though, I didn't really start experimenting with that until probably 2017, 2018, when I started doing this kind of black eye look. I don't know why, I just like the idea of having these really hollowed out eyes. And then as well, I used to kind of draw the centre, and whenever I drew her, she had no eyes. So I wanted to create that, and then as the years have kind of gone on, I've built up more kind of features and more parts of the look. But especially this year, I wanted to be able to have something firm and set in stone that I could just consistently be, so that I can kind of be a visual market for myself.
Yeah, that's really cool. I absolutely love it. Also, I've noticed that you have like sunflowers. Like I've noticed in the background there. Is that something that's important to you as well? Like I've seen you post pictures on your social medias as well, and they're always in the background of all your videos. So what does that mean?
I suppose it's the kind of light and the darkness. My style is quite black. A lot of the clothes I wear are very dark, and a lot of my music's quite dark. So I actually found these sunflowers about to be thrown out into a bin, and they were in perfectly good condition. So I thought I'll need to salvage these, and I'll need to use them somehow. But in a way, it was a kind of metaphor to me for sometimes people throw away stuff that's actually good. You should really consider or have a look at the stuff that you're throwing away. And kind of for me, that was a metaphor for my emotions in a way, into it and all that. So I do really like the sunflowers though, because they brighten things up, and sunflowers are cheery.
Yeah, they are. Like yellow's one of my favourite colours, so I love sunflowers, and I also love that kind of analogy that you just put out there, because I think a lot of people do just decide to throw things away, and not everything is worth throwing away. So I think that's a really positive way to look at things as well. You also write poems. I've seen a few of them, they're absolutely amazing. What are your inspirations behind the poems?
Well, I suppose it's a general kind of mind, get everything out of my head kind of thing. I actually never used to be keen on poems at all. I used to think they were cringy, and I was like, oh, I can't ever write poems that will just, I don't know, it won't fit me. But then this year, I started actually looking through the notes on my phone for kind of, I would have things that would come into my head, bars, maybe a couple of lines, or write them down into a note into my phone, and then eventually piece them all together into lyrics for a song. But I started looking at my stuff and going, some of this is actually pretty long. Maybe I should actually just embrace the flow and call myself a poet and just start writing all this stuff down that I've been writing down but in segments. And especially this year, a lot of stuff's happened and it's been a great way for me to be able to process events by writing them down into a poem, almost like a wee story thing, and then that's the event out of the way and dealt with. So I suppose inspiration comes from pretty much anywhere, but a lot of it is just general what's going on inside my head.
Yeah. How have you found being a musician in this global pandemic? Because obviously it's a bit of a weird year, but how have you found that?
Oh, it's been a weird one for everybody, I think. I suppose for myself, I've been used to making my own music in a kind of home environment for the last few years, so I've got some, relatively decent equipment that I've been using. But this time round, it was a little bit annoying because this was meant to be the time for me to create something in the studio, a studio EP or a studio album, since being signed on with Legion. Obviously, with the COVID restrictions, it just wasn't possible to be able to get any studio space. But I did manage to make it work because not even a global pandemic, I'll stop making music, never. I'm always creating, that's always what I'll be doing. And what I just did this time was I got a little bit more up the game in a way, I suppose. I converted the cupboard at the top of my stairs into a little studio thing. So I've got my microphone and all the equipment there. And that's all I need, really. I just need a small space that I can create. So I suppose this year hasn't really affected me that much, but it would have been nice to get in the studio.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been. I think, like a lot of your stuff is quite good quality though. Do you just have your own equipment in the house that you just use?
Yeah, I have a really good condenser microphone. I definitely recommend it's a budget one. It's the Samsung CO1U Pro. When I got it about 4 years ago, it was about 60 quid. I could not believe it. It's a great microphone. So to any musicians that are wanting anything budget equipment wise, definitely go for it. I think it's in about the 60-70 pound range now, so it's definitely worth getting. But everything else I use is just basic instruments really. I don't have any big brands or anything. I just kind of work with what I've got and make it work.
Yeah. Yeah. So you play the ukulele. What else do you play?
So I can play a bit of guitar, but at the moment I'm learning how to play bass properly. I picked up the bass a couple of years ago, but I only learned a few songs on it, and this time around I'm trying to actually learn proper things, so that's really fun. I also play a little bit of the keys as well, and when I was in my old house I had a drum kit, which was quite fun to batter on sometimes.
Yeah, I wouldn't trust myself with a drum kit because I'm pretty much noisy most of the time anyway, so...
It's lots of fun. You'd be good at it. It's lots of fun.
Okay, so a little bit of a lighter note. Where is your favourite place that you've ever performed?
Oh, I would have to say probably 13th Note or Ivory Blacks. 13th Note because it was the last gig I played before lockdown in March, and it was just a great little kind of space. It was so grunge rock, and it was so cool, and all the staff were so cool, and it's just a really cool restaurant up the stairs as well. So I did like that. However, Ivory Blacks was amazing because it was my debut gig, and I've not played there since, which is a shame. I'd love to play there again after lockdown. But the crowd was just amazing. It was a charity gig, and I just felt so welcomed into the live music scene as a new musician then, and it was just great. I think Ivory Blacks is quite I want to say almost like a family venue as well. Everybody just seems to know each other, and it just seems to be good vibes. So definitely going back there.
Yeah, that's wonderful, and hopefully soon you'll be able to get back out there and perform, because I love seeing your videos, so I think that that will be amazing for you. So what is the inspiration behind your music style? Like, who do you pull inspiration from, or is it just all you?
I suppose when I first started making music, it was a lot of Elliott Smith. He's a kind of acoustic musician. He's sadly not with us anymore. He passed away at quite a young age. But his music has so much passion behind it, and it was so simple as well. There wasn't really much to it. It wasn't a full band. So I drew inspiration from that at first, started making more acoustic stuff. And then I discovered the likes of Cave Town, who is a self-musician as well, a self-made musician, and pretty much managed to make his own one-man band himself and created himself and built himself up over the years. So I was like, wow, I could do that. That would be so cool. Why don't I just become a one-man band, or at least attempt to? But throughout the years, a lot more inspiration has been taken from people like Frank Iero, people that are I have a lot of passion in them. Hayley Williams as well, and there's this band that I discovered recently called Amel and the Snifflers, and they're so cool, and the lead singer is so full of passion. I just love it. So the moment especially is just any kind of passionate musician. That's what I want to be able to capture into my music, because my genre is always changing. The new stuff I'm working on is really different from what I've done before. So it's just really the fire that I'm looking for to make it what it is.
Yeah. I mean, I love that you just said that, because I was talking with my friend the other day and we were talking about how we don't like to be placed into a certain genre because that kind of pigeonholes you a bit. So I like that you're kind of, like, I guess, cross genre. So I think that's really cool, and I think that's really important as well, because country artists can do pop and all this other kind of stuff as well. So I think that it's really important that you can kind of experiment as well, which I think is amazing. You talk a little bit on your social media about your mental health, and I guess I kind of want to know how you're doing and if you have any tips for anyone who might be struggling as well, especially during these times.
Yeah, so I suppose I'm doing all right at the moment. I'm just glad it's the end of this year. It has been a very eventful one, and I'm trying to be optimistic about 2020 because there's lots of exciting Dissenter stuff coming up. But going back to what I was saying previously about passion, to anybody who is struggling now, try and reconnect with your passions. Try and reconnect with something that you really enjoyed doing when you were younger, or even things that you've enjoyed doing in the past couple of months in the first lockdown or something. Really, when it comes to dealing with mental health, everybody's different, but if you can have something to channel it into, if you can have something that you can escape into, then really that is the ticket. And especially in lockdown, when the world seems to have come to a stop, if you can have that one thing that drives you, that you can really go 100 miles an hour at and focus at, it creates a world for you, and you can escape from all this nonsense that's going on. So definitely find something that you are passionate about and pass on that passion and just really embrace it. I suppose a lot of mental health people will say, oh, you need to try and be more positive and you need to try and think better, when really we should actually be celebrating our negative emotions, because sometimes that's when the most art can be created. I know that when I'm in my bad times, that's when I create some of my best work. So run with it, run with your emotions and find your passion.
Oh my god, I love that. That's amazing. That's probably the best answer I have ever heard to that question. So that's really cool. Because you're right, a lot of people do tell you that you kind of need to look at the positive sides and stuff like that, but a lot of positive things can come from the dark. So I really do. I love that. Okay, so has there ever been a time where you have felt like you just wanted to give up on music? Because obviously, as a musician, you will know that it can be very difficult. You sometimes hear no's a lot more times than you hear yes, which can be really hard. But has there ever been a time like that, and what do you do to get yourself out of that on days when that happens?
I suppose for me, really, the thing that makes me want to stop is when I have a writer's block. Because I think we all know when you just can't create, it just is the worst. You feel like you can't do anything, you feel like a bit of a failure to yourself, and especially if it's a way that you can outlet emotions, it just feels like you're stuck simmering in all this, marinating in all this bad stuff, when really you can snap out of it, but it takes time. I mean, I've never really wanted to quit music, but it's been in those times that I've had the writer's block that I've been scared that I would never be able to create again. But because music's such almost a crucial thing for my survival at this point, it's something that I really put a lot into, that I don't think I could not do it. It's quite weird. I feel like it's something I'll always be doing, no matter if I get big or no matter if I stay where I am. It's something that I always enjoy doing. But for people that do struggle with writer's block, honestly, you've just got to believe that you're going to get out of that. You've got to believe and keep holding on to it and keep thinking that you will eventually be able to create what you want to create again. So, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I can relate to that right now because I have writer's block right now and it is killing me. It is a struggle. What is your favourite song that you have ever written and what's it about?
I would say probably Hospital Home off of my album Suicide Heights from 2018. I say because, again, it was one of those songs that I feel captured the moment in my life, a kind of time frame, a kind of place. So my I was staying with my mum at the time, and her partner was really ill with the Australian flu. And then she got ill with it, and then I got ill with it, and then my brother got ill with it. So the whole house felt like a hospital home because everybody was ill, and there was the smells of antiseptic and all the doctory stuff because we were all trying to get as better as we could. But at that time as well, I was really struggling to feel like I was reaching my mum's expectations. We didn't really see eye to eye at the time, and I was a little bit of a rebel, and she wasn't. So I was so frustrated, and the main lyric in the chorus is, "I'll never reach your expectations. Who are you to say?" So I was angry, and I was like, "I'll never reach your expectations. Who are you to say that? Because your expectations are different from what I want to achieve." So it was a really kind of breakthrough song for me as well, because a lot of people resonate with it. A lot of people will ask me to sing it and play it, which is really, really cool. It means a lot that people can resonate with that, because I think a lot of people feel that way as well, that they can never reach anybody's expectations because they're not what they're achieving for. So yeah, I would say it holds a special place in my heart for sure, Hospital.
Yeah, I actually have heard that one, and I really do like it because I stalk your music page.
Thank you.
I do think that it has a really good story behind it. I think a lot of your songs do have like a really good story, and I think it's a lot of things that people can relate to, because you do try to reach other people's expectations. You sometimes even try to reach your own expectations, which are sometimes like immensely high. So you just need to think about what your goal is, and I love that. On your Facebook page, you do a lot of covers of some really classic songs. How do you pick what songs you're going to do, and how do you decide on how you're going to arrange them?
I guess I started off doing covers of songs that I was listening to at the time. I do listen to a lot of old music, a lot of kind of old school tunes that people would hear and go, "Oh yeah, I know that one," and I'll sing along. So I was running steady for a while. I had all these songs on my playlist, and I was like, "Yeah, I will do a cover of that." Awesome. And then you get to a stage where you run out of covers on your playlist, so you have to try and actually think about some more. So this year I've been trying to do kind of different stuff to attract different people and different audiences. I did a cover of a TikTok song, I think it was Roses by St. John, that ended up getting loads of views on YouTube. I don't even know how. But so trying to expand this year, really, I've been thinking about songs that are along the same lines, old school that people know, but not necessarily alternative genre. Maybe some pop songs, like the likes of Hallelujah that I did a couple of weeks ago, and even some Christmas songs this month have been really fun to do. So I suppose at the moment I'm actually more open for requests with covers, but arrangement-wise, I have started to try and bulk out the covers a wee bit more as well, some kind of harmonies, maybe like oohs and ahs in the background, because I do find it really fun to be able to edit my videos as well and put together something that's enjoyable to listen to, really. So yeah.
Do you have any social media that you want to shout out?
Social medias that I would like to shout out. Oh, well, definitely Kerry. Well, thank you again for having me on this today.
No problem.
You're always doing your part for the local community, and I love seeing your channel on YouTube grow, because whenever I go back to look at video, your subscribers are always more. So I'm always like, yeah, every single time.
Aww.
But I've got a couple. So Rosa Peel, Ida, she's my Norwegian pal. She's kind of a bit of a YouTube mum, I suppose. She's not actually a mum, but she's so nice, and she really helps out the community as well, but kind of more worldwide, I suppose. And it's been awesome to see her grow as well. I'm trying to think. There's so many. Jodie Civil, she's got a duo going at the moment. If I could only remember what they were called, but they're actually a Scottish duo. The Pretty Preachers Club, also another Scottish duo who have just kind of arisen, but I went to college with one of the members, so I'm like, oh, I can't believe it, you guys have done music now. But I think that's all I can think of off the top of my head.
That's
everybody that give me a shout out, because I've got a lot more followers recently. I can't believe it. Thank you and welcome.
What about yourself? What are your social medias?
So I have Instagram, which is Dissenter, but the first E is a 3. I've got Facebook, which is just Dissenter. I have YouTube, which is also just Dissenter. And I have a website which is www.dissenter.us, where you can find all the links to all my social medias, and then also pretty much all the stuff I post on my social medias as well. And you can also buy and download my music via the website as well, so that's really cool.
Awesome. So I will link all of your social medias below as well, so anybody who wants to check out Dissenter, which I definitely recommend that you should, you can click on the links in the description. What about for 2021? Do you have any upcoming projects?
There's a lot of exciting things coming for Dissenter in 2021. I have mentioned, I think, on my social medias, kind of throughout the year sporadically, that I have been working on an EP. This lockdown definitely inspired me to get my writing boots on and get some more songs made and get some more passion put out there. And most importantly, deal with a lot of things that have been happening in the past year and a half for myself and my personal life. But that will be coming out really soon, and I mean within the next couple of months. Unfortunately, I can't say any release dates and anything, but aside from that, there will hopefully be gigs coming up, hopefully, if live music comes back, and if not, live streams. I'm going to try and do them a little bit more regular, try and get a little bit more involved. But I will be bringing back a poem video series as well, hopefully at some point in the next month or so. I should hopefully be able to record soon, because everybody's missing my poem videos. I couldn't believe how well they went down when I did them in the summer, so I will definitely be getting on to some more of those.
Well, that's amazing. Thank you so much for joining me, Dissenter, and deciding to come do this video with me. So thank you very much for that. As
Thank
I said,
you so much.
yeah, no problem. As I said before, her links are in the description, so thank you very much for that. I will see you next time.
Thank you.
No problem. Bye.
Alright guys, that was my interview with Dissenter, and I hope you enjoyed it. I certainly took a few things away from it and learned a lot, so if you like this video, give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, and maybe even suggest who you would like me to interview next. See you next time. Bye.